My guest today is none other than the one and only Miss Dionna Williams.
Something in me was like, you should try out for the school musical. I was like, maybe this is something that I want to pursue.
Okay.
But am I ready to give up sports? And my dad was like, are you absolutely sure? Like, this actually sounds kind of ridiculous.
It sounds kind of crazy.
And I was like, I don't know what I would study. I'm not passionate about any subject, like realistically. I never want to be put in a box, and I feel like a lot of actors can.
But for you, Dionna Williams, what does hitting your mark look like?
Hitting my mark is just...
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hitting Your Mark, where I sit down with creative people who is out there doing their thing, and I believe is definitely hitting their mark. My next guest today is a superstar. She is, don't laugh because you are. She is an actress, she's in ministry, and she's also a director. You know, we'll talk about that too. But on top of that, I am super grateful that I get to call this young lady my friend. My guest today is none other than the one and only Miss Dionna Williams. Thank you so much for being here, Dee.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, come on now. Well, I really admire you. Because today you've had a long day, but you still were able to come here. You know, but today you're chasing the dream. You're doing your thing. You're at an acting class, yeah?
It was.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about that. What was the class? What's happening?
It was a workshop, and it was on the technique of Patsy Rodenberg, and she's this legend in the acting community, all about voice work and really being present and grounded in your body.
Okay.
So we spent like the first half of the morning getting into our breath, making it low, breathing in and out, you know, what that feels like. Also making eye contact, being present with your other person. So there was 6 of us, and, you know, there's a lot of staring going on, and that could be uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Because you're in a place of vulnerability. And who wants to willingly be vulnerable if they don't have to.
Right. Come on now.
So getting comfortable with doing that with new people that you haven't really met before.
Yeah.
And then the second half was really getting into the text work. And so we were doing more talking. Our instructor gave us either you could pick a poem or a sonnet, Shakespeare sonnet.
Okay.
And you did variations of different exercises to get the breath in your body, as well as making sure you are sending your words forward.
Yeah.
And you would think like easier said than done. It was a very hard day.
Oh, really?
It was lots of breath. I think you normally don't breathe
that much?
And
no,
so
thanks.
often.
Right, yeah, definitely.
And so low. It was a lot, but it was really good. And at the end, you got to say your sonnet. And it was really lovely to see the work come to life and how your voice is different.
Yeah.
I realized for me today that when I get vulnerable, I tend to go off my voice. And so it's not as full or as grounded. It kind of goes back into my throat.
Gotcha. Gotta keep it in that core.
Gotta keep it in the core.
Oh, yeah,
so that was definitely something I struggled and worked on today.
Ah, nice. Is that kind of where do you feel like you learn best, like in class, like in workshops and stuff like that? Or do you think like hands-on, like on the job, you kind of learn best?
I think probably first and foremost, it would be class.
Okay.
I think just being in a place where you can be vulnerable and it's safe and you can, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but just learning lessons. I think that then makes the work on set where maybe you do have to be a little bit more professional and a little bit more hands-on and on it. It makes that easier when you've took the time to do the work outside.
Yeah, right. A place that can kind of be your playground where you can play around and try stuff. Yeah, and I think you can kind of call it mistakes. You know, just like little
things.
Little, the bad habits and stuff that like you can kind of knock out the way by the time you do get on camera. By the time you do get on a professional stage, you can knock those out.
Yeah.
But have you had like previous experience with like doing Shakespeare and stuff, or not really?
No, I have very small Shakespeare experience. I went to college for acting, and we have to take a Shakespeare class.
Got you.
And I did not like Shakespeare at all. In high school we did Shakespeare, and I just didn't understand the man. I was like, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
that's crazy.
But I'm sorry to all the Shakespeare fans out there.
They might come for you.
I took a class, a Shakespeare class specifically, and I had the most amazing teacher. Her name was Alexandra Wright, and she calls
Shout out to
Shakespeare her boyfriend. Like she's like, he is my boyfriend, and we love that for her.
Yeah, we do.
And the way that she taught it was really nice, and how she broke down the texts and the dialects of it all, because it's like Old English, but like less. It's just different, and you really have to take the time to not only understand what Shakespeare's trying to tell the audience and what he's trying to tell the other person that he's speaking to, but just like really big emotions, I think. And so when she broke it down and we did the class and I was able to sit in a lot of different Shakespeare texts, I really started to love him more than I did. So I'm a Shakespeare fan now, but it was tough. It was a toughie for a while.
It definitely is. I mean, and it's not for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, everybody's going to be too into it, especially like audiences. Like audiences, like what? Like, why would I go to a Shakespeare show? I can't understand it. So it definitely takes a special kind of person to really want to dive into it. But I love that you have though, and you've grown a little, love to it.
A little bit.
A little love. But do you think you could, see yourself maybe doing like a full-on play? Or?
I would love to do a Shakespeare play. I've seen many versions of Romeo and Juliet, obviously, classic.
Oh, yeah.
I did a few texts from The Merchant of Venice, and I really liked that one. I feel like Hamlet's a real big stretch. Like, you really have to be like
that's a mouthful.
dedicated.
I don't know.
But I think I really like Twelfth Night. I would be interested in Twelfth Night. Yeah, so I think if the opportunity presented itself, I would definitely love to be in a Shakespeare show.
Come on, I love that. Now you talked about this. So you went to college for acting.
I did.
What school was that?
Azusa Pacific University.
Azusa Pacific, APU, huh? Is that what y'all call it? That's the cool kids call it, right? APU?
Yeah.
Nice, I love it. So I'm gonna assume that wasn't the beginning of your acting journey, or at least you like showing interest in it and like doing it. Where did it start for you?
It started in like elementary school. I went to a very small Christian elementary school, and they put on various plays and productions. And I don't know exactly when it started. I just remember myself being in it. And I just loved it. Every year I would do whatever show, and it was just so much fun.
Nice.
But my family's a big sports family. And so basketball was also always something that I was doing. So when it came to going to high school, I got a scholarship for basketball. And so it was like, go to high school for free or do theater. You
got a high school scholarship for basketball? I did. Because it was like a private school or something?
Yeah. So I went to private school for high school, and I got a scholarship. And so I did sports all 4 years, and that was great. But my last 2 years, something in me was like, you should try out for the school musical. And I was like, okay. And at the time, it was Taming of the Shrew. But like a really wacky version of Taming of the Shrew.
Yeah, got you. But that's a great play, though.
It is a great play. I've done quite a few. Kate's indie monologue. It's my favorite. But so I tried out for it, and I didn't get a big part. It was just like, and it worked out well because I was doing track at the time. So the schedule worked out great. But I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is like what was missing, I think. Because at the time, sports was like, I was like not super passionate about basketball anymore. So I was like, this is really great. So then my senior year, I also did another show. And I was like, maybe this is something that I want to pursue. But am I ready to give up sports? Am I ready to say goodbye? Because can't do both. And I sat with it for a while, and I prayed on it for a little bit. And ultimately I was like, there's nothing else that I'm super passionate about other than like acting. So I decided to not pursue it in college, not pursue sports in college, and to try out for the BFA programs. And I did, and I got into APU's program.
Come on now.
Which was great in itself, and just solidified that this is something that I was meant to do.
Yeah, it affirmed it.
It did. It affirmed all the things that I felt when it came to theater and acting. And so that is where I really started to do it wanting to do it professionally.
Right. Okay. Nice. I love that. Talk about that had to be kind of like a push and pull, right? Like you were literally given a scholarship to like play basketball. Everybody would think, oh, obviously that's your thing. Like go full fledged with that.
Yeah.
But you're going to give that up to go and like struggle and like try to bring this other thing up, which is like your passion of like theater, of acting, of make believe and playing dress up.
Yeah.
Like, was there any like outside tension with that? Maybe like from family, like that you kind of had to deal with, or was everybody pretty much on board with you?
You know what? My mom was really supportive. My sister was like super young, so she like didn't care. And my brother was like, "Are you sure about this? Like, this is weird." And my dad was like, "Are you absolutely sure? Like, this actually sounds kind of ridiculous."
It sounds kind of crazy.
And I was like, I know. But I was like, even if I didn't do theater and I chose to like do track or basketball, whatever I was going to go to college for, I was like, I don't know what I would study. I'm not passionate about any subject, like realistically. And like just in the world, like what would I do? And I was like, sports is only going to take me so far before I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like I can't be 50 trying to do some hurdles. Like it's not realistic.
Don't know if I'm going to the WNBA.
Right. And so I think eventually, you know, he was like, if this is what you want to do, then we'll support you. And so I think majority, everyone was really supportive and they knew I had a passion for it even when I was a little girl. So it's not like this just came out of the blue and I was like, you know, I want to switch it up. This is definitely something that I had been doing. I just had stepped away for a while. Gotcha.
I love that. You talked about, you know, you doing that there and then you trying out for the BFA programs, right? Like in school.
Yeah.
And then you kind of knew, but was there ever like I guess I could call it like a trigger moment or like a light bulb moment where you knew like this was the thing that like you were gonna kind of pursue probably for the rest of your life? You know, I think, everybody has the thing of like, like this is fun, this is something I'm doing right now. But like, I think there's always like a moment that happens where you're like, okay, no, like this is something different. This is actually like, this is gonna be my thing.
I don't know if it was like a moment or it was just the process of like falling back into love with it.
Gotcha.
I think I dipped my toe in it my junior year, like the end of my junior year when I did Taming of the Shrew. And I was like, this is so fun. Like this is something that I really, really enjoy. And then when I did the play my senior year, I was like, no, this is great. This is something I want to do. I think this is where I need to go. So
come on now. I love that. And you see, it's always connected to Shakespeare because mine was connected to Shakespeare too. Like when I was at Santa Monica College, actually, when I was doing the show, The Comedy of Errors. And I remember my very last show, I said my last lines and then I went backstage like right before curtain call and I was sitting there and I was like this feeling that I have right now, like this is it. Like I'm gonna chase this like for as long as I can. So it's always Shakespeare. So just come on back.
So it is Shakespeare.
At least that's the root of it. That's the root of it. You know, we go on and do other stuff, but Shakespeare is always gonna be at the core. I love it. Well, I love that you did continue to pursue it, but then in the professional world too, because that's how we met, right? We met in what, like 2018, 2019?
We met 2019.
2019. Do you remember? You remember where we met at?
We met on the set of Insecure. It was my second day.
Yeah. Okay, it was like a week or something, right? Okay.
I think I did 3 days, but it was my second day, and gosh, I think we were like trying to eat or something. Like we were in the hall. With
we was in like this big room.
Yeah.
It was this big room. I remember, I was sitting there with like Damien and some other dude was there. Yeah. And then you came with like two of the girls.
Yeah, that I had just met on the set. Yes, the day before.
It's crazy. Y'all just came up and like, I don't even know how it happened. Like we just all just like connected. We just started talking, we just started talking and it was beautiful. Do you remember like that time at all, like that 2019 like phase, kind of like where your career was, like where were you up to,
I think I was so green. Like I was just so new to it all in the professional world of acting. And I think that that's okay. Yeah. I think at that time I didn't have an agent and I was kind of just on Actors Access, like just trying to get whatever I could.
Submitting every day,
Submitting all the things that, new actors do.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I submitted for Insecure background and I got it and I was like over the moon. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so great.
It's so great. It's crazy.
Like I was like, this is my time to shine. Little did I know how little
how little shine it was. How little shine it's gonna be. How little shine background work is.
Yes. Yeah. So I think I think it was a cool experience. It was nice to be on a real set. I got a sneak peek at Issa Rae from across the parking lot.
Yeah, I remember that.
She's gorgeous. I met you, which was awesome.
Yeah,
and
right.
Damien's great. I don't talk to him, but he was awesome.
Yeah.
Don't remember the other guy, but
yeah, right. It's all good. I think that was like, I like talked to my sister and stuff about it. I'm like, it's crazy how like it was literally a sea of people.
So many
people that was working that day doing background. Yeah. So the fact that we connected that day, like we met. Not only did we meet, but now we've done two projects together. Yeah. We've done. I've connected with you at Arts Camp, which we'll talk about in this thing. But like, it's crazy. I think that was what was supposed to happen, not necessarily like, I don't think it was our time to shine on that.
It wasn't.
On that set at all. So yeah, I think the most beautiful thing was that we got to meet each other and we got to connect. And we've done some beautiful projects together. Yeah. The very first thing that I called you about was doing our first date, which is a story about my parents' first date. And I remember, we hadn't really talked before then. No. We were like on Instagram and stuff, like, connected. Yeah. But when I was thinking about doing it, I'm just like, who could play my mom? Who could play my mom? And I think something happened where like, cause you would post your monologues and you post your monologues and stuff like on Instagram. And I remember seeing it and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I'm like, Dionna, I'm like, she's fair skinned and she's got like a sweet personality and stuff. I'm like, I think that could be cool. That could be cool if I could do that. So I wouldn't say were you intimidated at all, but like, were you kind of like scared a little bit about playing like an actual person and then my mom?
I don't think I was scared. I like a challenge. Oh yeah. And when you presented it to me, I just thought it was really sweet. Yeah. I was like, this is such a beautiful thing to want to put on screen. And so my whole thought process is just be truthful. Come on and if you're truthful, then it'll work out.
Yeah, it'll work out. Come on now. And that shooting process was it was a movie. It was a movie within itself. I'm telling you, there's so many things with you. I'm like, we're locked in because you're just a trooper. You're just a trooper. Literally, we get to set. I booked this place for us to shoot. I'm like, some of the stuff in, and I get there and nobody's home. No. Nobody's home. No. The lady told me that she didn't know that I booked the place, right? And she was just gone. And I didn't know that. Like I didn't see her email until we got there. And then I got you. I've got Sid who was shooting for me. Candace. I got a sound dude. Like everybody's literally standing there like outside this thing, wondering what we're gonna do. And we're locked out, just wondering what we're gonna do. But I'm so grateful to you guys because I was just like a wreck. I was just sitting there. I was just like, okay, just like everything was going in my head. But you guys were like, okay, boom, what are we gonna do? Like, what's the next step? What are we gonna do next? So I'm super grateful to you guys. But I think that's the like beauty of filmmaking, though. It's just like finding the ways to make stuff happen when it might not be a way. So that was beautiful.
But you seem like you were the nose in the books type, right?
I was.
Knew it. Favorite subject?
Math.
Ugh, math? Really? Why?
Because there's a right and a wrong answer. What was yours?
English. Because there is no right or wrong answer. Everything is up to interpretation.
No. I don't like that. I like a clear path to a clear answer. Black and white, no gray area.
But it's not like that in life, though. I mean, almost everything is gray. Everything is up to interpretation.
And that's why math is my favorite. You're given a formula to solve a problem. And it feels really good when you do. And I wish life was more like that.
Another thing that we recently did is my latest short film, People. Yeah. You were playing my therapist in that.
I know. Very different.
Very different.
Your love interest.
Exactly. We switching stuff around. It's beautiful. Talk about that. I know we had talked about like, you're like, I've never been in therapy before, but we're gonna give it a shot. Yeah. Talk about maybe like a little bit of the preparation for that, for you doing that.
So I've never been in consistent therapy, but I've gone to therapy before. My sister's in therapy. Okay. And I think what's important for a therapist is one, not to place judgment, but to actively listen and then come up with solutions that work for that person with whatever situation they're dealing with. And so as I looked at the script, I just wanted to see what you were talking about, understand your feelings and your frustrations, and then come from a place of honesty. Like, how can I help him in this situation? Not be biased, not be upset, not be any of those things, but just to truthfully listen to him and then respond with what I thought was appropriate.
Come on now, you did that. You did just that. You bodied it. It was funny. I was talking to somebody who is actually like going to school and stuff to be like in therapy. And I was like, how'd you feel about it? She was like, oh, like I believed it. Like everything, like, you know, she did was good. She was like, how she listened to you and like how she like let you riff off for a lot, and then like she brought it in. You know, so kudos to you. You did your homework.
That's great. I'm glad that I did. I did it justice.
You did your homework.
Jalen, I find it interesting that I asked you one simple question of, what do you think of your painting? And you went on to give me a full dissertation of what everyone else thinks. But what matters most is your opinion. So I'll ask it again. What do you think?
I don't know.
On the other side of things of that film was my character who was a dude that was feeling, you know, that anxiety of putting things out there because of people, right? And of what they would say. And I think what was really significant was, one scene that was significant to me was that second scene with his friend, like in the park, where he kind of like really like talked him out of it, like talked him out of taking that leap and doing that thing. Has there ever been a time in your life where there were, you know, people that you kind of like professed your dream to, and they kind of like talked you off the ledge a little bit, or has everybody been mostly supportive of you in your journey?
I'm grateful because everybody's really is supportive with what I want to do. And the reassurance is good from them too, but I think if you're not in the industry and you don't know the ins and outs of it and how hard it is to actually be an actor and book a job, their questions can be like kind of disheartening a little bit. You know, they could be like, you know, how many auditions have you got? Have you got any?
Oh, wow.
Have you booked anything? You're still doing that acting thing? That's great. You know, and you're like,
God, the little acting thing. How many times have you heard that?
And
right?
I'm like, it's not little. It's actually very big.
It's actually quite big, you know.
So I think that's stuff that, I don't know if it's more so, they've never talked me off the ledge. This is what I want to do, and I think my purpose is in it. But I think it is disheartening at times where I'm like, I just wish I had something to provide that was like a little bit more substantial for them. But then again, like I try to tell myself, it's not about them.
Not at all.
It's about me.
Come on now. Absolutely. I love that. You know, it's funny. I was watching this one interview. I forget. Oh, Jenna Fisher from like The Office and stuff. She was talking like, you know, about her mom. Her mom would see like a Neutrogena commercial or a Neutrogena billboard, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, I just passed by this billboard, like, and you have great skin, Jenna. Like, call your agent, tell them that you want to do a Neutrogena commercial. She was like, yeah, Mom, that's exactly how that works. You know, I just call them up and do that, you know? It's so great when like family, like, you know, certain times they think that they're being helpful or like, but they just don't get it. Like,
they don't get it. They don't get it.
They just don't get how it goes, you know, but that's all right though, you know? In this journey and stuff, are there certain like actresses or actors that you kind of look up to and you want to kind of like model your career after them?
I would say two actors that I really like. I don't know if I would want to model my career after them just because I feel like I don't like to compare myself to anybody. I think it's my journey and the roles will be different and I'm different. Absolutely. But I think powerhouse women are so important to me. And so I think Viola Davis and Kerry Washington are like in my top, like the top for me. I think I like the roles that they play. Obviously, I think they play very powerful women with a good, strong head on their shoulders. I think they have range, which I really appreciate. I never want to be put in a box, and I feel like a lot of actors can, depending on what you book or what you look like. And I never want that. I always want to be able to show a range of different acting styles if I can, you know, if I get the opportunity to do so.
Are you, do you think you're gearing towards more of like wanting to be like a film actress, like in television, maybe do like some theater, or do you kind of just want to see where the journey kind of takes you, or is there one that you're really leaning towards?
I'm leaning more towards television and film.
Okay.
I love a good series. I think you get to explore the character more. I think you get to create more backstory, more intricate stories in general of who this character is, and I think you get more time.
Yeah.
And so to be on a series for multiple seasons, I think you get to really just ground yourself in who that character is.
Nice.
So I'm leaning more towards that, but I would love to dip my toe in all three. I think filming a movie would be great.
Come on now. Absolutely.
And I think you just can't not love live theater.
Oh, come
I think
on now.
live theater is so precious.
It's nothing like it.
And there's nothing like it.
It's nothing like it. Come on now. What's a series out there that you see and you're like, oh, I can see myself in that. Like I could kill that. Like
so
I can body that.
There's so many. Okay, well, there is one. I'm just gonna do one for now because I'm like, there's so many in my head. And when you like you're put on the spot, like at the time you like at home, I could be like this,
right.
and here I'm like I don't know, but it's actually not on TV anymore. They just finished the entire series, but it's called Station 19, and I love the firefighter role.
Yeah,
like,
I think we talked about that. Okay.
And people are like, you want to be a firefighter?
Yeah. I'm curious to know that too. Why a firefighter?
I know that sounds so crazy, but I think I just like the idea of like one, like wearing the gear, fighting the fires, saving people, and women doing it. Like again, like I just love women.
Yeah,
strong women. Mm-hmm. And so there's a character on Station 19. Her name is Victoria Hughes, and she's also a theater actor too. So she just is like amazing in the show.
The best one.
And I just would love to do something like that and be on the show. And I think I like action too. Like I don't have a lot of expertise or like I've never done a lot of like stage combat or like action-y stuff, but I think I would love to do that. I think I would love to run up the stairs or do the hose or
you're gonna be putting out fire,
fight
baby.
The fire. You know what I mean? So Station 19 is one.
I love it.
I'm like super into, and it's like odd. I'm a romance girly to my core. So anything romancy that's not too like stereotypical,
like cheesy or nothing. Yeah, I got you.
But I think real love, like real pure love that's put out there. I think I would love to do something like that, and I can't think at the top of my head like one particular one, but like that as well. And I'm super into like action-y, obviously firefighter, but like like if I was like like an agent, like a Secret Service agent or like a FBI, CIA, where I'm like doing stuff. You know what I mean? And that goes with the action, right?
Solving
like
crimes, you out here like getting the bad guys.
There's a show called Lioness on Paramount Plus, and Zoe Saldana is the lead in it, and she's
great.
Amazing, and she's like the head of like a secret spy unit. And it's like super dangerous and it's super actiony, and she's just great in it. And I just would love to do something like that too.
Come on now. So we're gonna get you as the lead in the firefighter firefighter series. And you're gonna be putting out fires, saving people. Yeah. And we're gonna get you a romantic interest. So we're gonna have that aspect of it too. And then that'll be one show packaged up for you. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yes.
It's gonna happen. I love it.
It will. I have to believe it.
Yeah, come on now. One way that we've also connected is that we both work in ministry.
Yes.
You work for your church, the Great Montrose Church.
I do.
You're with the kids ministry, right? The kids ministry director. Talk about kind of how you got into that lane.
Yeah. I was not really going to church in 2018. I had some family stuff go on that really took me away from the church, but my friend was working as a nursery worker at Montrose, and she had said, if you're looking to get back into the church, I think that they're opening up as like a small teacher's assistant in the kids ministry program. And I said no at first. I was like, no, I don't think I'm super interested yet. But like 5 months later, she asked me again. She's like, I'm leaving to go to a different state, and I just really think that you would like it there. Nice. So I said, okay, I'll interview for the position, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. And I met with my now boss, Candace, she was amazing. I think right off the bat, we really connected. And I think if anybody else would have interviewed me that day, I wouldn't have taken it.
Really? Candace
Like
got the secret sauce,
she,
huh?
She definitely, we just connected, and she was great, and she was kind, and she brought her cute little newborn baby. It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
So I started working a week or two after that as like an assistant, and then I just kept working my way up as I was a lead, and then I was like part-time lead doing other stuff, and then it just kept building up, and about 2 years ago I was asked to go full-time as the kids ministry director.
Come on now.
And I said yes, and it's been great. A lot of responsibility, a lot of different things that come with being kids ministry director, but it's been a good time.
For sure. No, I love that. I also work in ministry, so I know how like churches go and stuff like that. It's definitely a lot of hurdles and stuff. What do you think is one of the biggest kind of challenges of working not only in ministry, but you working like with kids, and that takes a special type of person to work with children. You know what I'm saying? Not like grown folks. So what's like one of the biggest challenges you think that you've kind of faced?
I think dealing with all of the different personalities, because you can't treat all the children the same.
Right.
They're so different. And also, when you become a kids ministry director or a pastor, you're dealing with families, there's a lot of things going on. So, people want to talk to you, people want to vent to you, they want to vent to you about their kids, they want to vent to you about different things. And I think that is important to have connection in that. But I think you also have to be aware of yourself and how you're feeling and taking on other people's traumas and different things that are going on in their life. So I think that can be difficult. And kids are just wacky. Kids are just wacky, and they just don't care. They just don't care. Right. And that is okay to a certain extent, but sometimes it makes me want to pull my hair out. So
no, I feel you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't work with kids. I don't work with kids too much, but I'm sure it's a special thing. You are still going after your thing of becoming a working actor, but also having a full-time job within ministry. How do you kind of like balance the two of giving all your time to Montrose to do that thing, which is a great thing that you're doing there, but also hey, I've got this thing that I'm pursuing. How do you kind of like balance the two?
I think I'm very lucky in the fact that my job is super flexible, and a lot of people's jobs are not. So my hours are usually a typical 9 to 5, but I am able to let people know if I need to come in later, if I need to leave earlier, if at lunch I need to go home and do an audition. I also live very close to my job, which is really nice.
Oh, nice.
So I think, and my job knows that acting is the career that I want to pursue long term. So it's not like they're oblivious to that.
Right.
And they're supportive in that too. So as long as I get my work done, and it's quality work, which it is, they have no problem with me here and there leaving for auditions. But a lot of my auditions are not during work hours, or I can do them after.
Yeah, so, right. It all kind of works out.
Yeah.
So they know acting is like your thing. So they know once you get that call, once that station 19, once that firefighter role comes across your desk,
I'm gone.
Like you chucking up the dishes. You'll come on Sundays and all that,
in a nice way. I feel like acting is so fickle, depending on where you're at in your career. So
for sure.
I think yes, if I get an acting job, I'm going to take it 100%. But I would never leave in a way that would make it hard for me to come back, because I feel like this is a job that I do like outside of not wanting it to be my sole career.
Exactly.
So if at some point, I got a job and I was gone for 6 months, but then I hit a little dry spell for a little bit and I wanted to come back, whether it was in this position or to assist or whatever, I'd always want to be able to be welcomed back.
Yeah.
So.
Come on, no, I love that. That's why I always preach that you got to, be kind to everybody, be nice to everybody, leave the same way that you came in, because you never know when you're gonna need those same exact people again.
Yes.
So it's beautiful that you're doing that. But I love that you have kind of merged the two. Really, I've seen with you with ministry, but also with the arts too, with Arts Camp, which I've had the pleasure of serving you guys for the past 2 years doing that. Talk about the beginning of that, about how that came about.
Yeah, I wasn't there when it started.
Okay.
But I do know that we started at one because we have a main campus. It's a much larger campus, and we do Vacation Bible School. And then we try to and it's a big hit in Montrose. But when we moved it to the Pasadena campus, there's just so many churches who do VBS that it just wasn't translating the way that we wanted to. We weren't getting enough kids in the neighborhood that we wanted to. So I know that our church was thinking about how can we be different? How can we get kids to come and just enjoy themselves and still learn about Jesus, you know? And so that is where Arts Camp emerged. We partnered with a man named Mark Collier. He is amazing, and he is the founder.
Yeah.
And he kind of gave us all the tools and the knowledge we needed to start Arts Camp here at our Pasadena campus on a much smaller scale than what it is now. And Pasadena is just rich with culture and diversity and art, and we wanted that to be represented in our church. Yeah. And so we started doing Arts Camp, and we first started inviting a nonprofit called STARS. It's an after-school program that meets at our church, and it was just great. It was really the payment was insignificant because we just wanted people to come and enjoy themselves. And so when I took on Arts Camp, when I became full-time, it was still to just instill confidence in kids, whether it's the arts or not. We wanted them to know that they can do anything that they set their mind to. And along with that, how art and God translate together, how God is the ultimate artist and how he's created something out of nothing, you know, and he's created us uniquely and beautifully and wonderfully made. And so are they.
Come on now. I love that. I love that.
So it stemmed from those things.
Yeah, no, I love that. I remember after the showcase that you guys do on the last day. I was talking to my dad about it. He was like, Deonna's like over that whole thing? And I was like, yeah. He was like, that takes a special type of person to do that, you know, like especially
so sweet.
Again, like with kids though too, like, you know, that's a whole nother thing. And I know that it can be challenging, but what is kind of like the biggest like payoffs you think that you've like seen from doing that? Like, you know, when that showcase happens on Friday night, like what's the kind of like fruit that you see of all your labor?
I think it's just the joy. I feel like in the beginning of the week, and our artists are great. Like, I feel like if you're going to do something, you need to do it well. So we're very particular with who we ask to come teach the children. I feel like you, one, have to care about your craft, whatever that may be. And then you have to, on some level, be good with children.
For sure.
And so that's really important. But I think, you know, we see in the beginning of the week that kids don't know other kids. They're timid. They don't know if they want to dance or sing or draw or drum or whatever it is that we have planned for them. And I think as the days goes on and we have our great speakers who, you know, speak life into them in the morning and share their quick devotionals. And then as the teachers love and care throughout the week, the showcase, the end result is just joy. It's just joy and confidence in whatever it is that we decide to show the parents and stuff. And it's quite lovely.
I love it. That was definitely one of the great joys for me too. Like, you know, when you first asked me, I was very intimidated, very scared. I'm like, first of all, I've never taught before, like no class, no workshop, like nothing. But on top of that, to do it like to kids was super frightening to me. It was challenging. It was so fun to like do it, watch the kids just like light up. And I think the biggest payoff for me was like at the end, like that, you know, that joy that they have, like to have certain kids who would like,
who love you. Who love you.
Mr. Bean is my nickname. I've been coined the name of Mr. Bean. Don't know where it came from, but I've got it. But to see, that love that we have, that connection, but like just to see kids like Catherine, Catherine, who like that first day she would say like 2 words. Yeah. She'd be sitting in the back, like it was like pulling teeth to get her to talk. Yeah. But like by the time we were filming, like she was like throwing out ideas that we can do, and like I was just like, whoa, like just watching them light up, it just like, you know, it just warms my heart. So it's definitely like beautiful stuff that you're doing. Before we wrap, I kind of want to hit on this too. Like you had directed once. I came up there. You guys are doing like it was like Christmas, right? A Christmas musical. You were directing that. Was that your first time like directing a play and stuff, or?
You know, yes. The kids musical at our church is the first time I've ever directed, and nice. I would say you definitely get better as you do it. You notice more things. The first time we did it, we had bought like a screenplay called 2.5 Magi, and it was just horrible. The kids were in weird costumes. The language was so hard. It was horrible. But when our worship director, Eric McClanahan, he started writing our scripts and also doing the music. And I ended up partnering with a fellow actor who also sings at our church, Juliana. She's who I did the workshop with today too. So connections are great. We were both had the same understanding that we're professionals and we want this to look good. It's okay if it's a kid's musical, because some kids' musicals are not good, and that is okay because they're cute.
All right, yeah.
But we want them to be cute and we want them to be good.
Exactly.
And so that just birthed the last 3 or so years that we've been directing the kids' musical, and we are loving but also professional enough to where if they do want to pursue this, the kids, they kind of get a sense of what that looks like. But it's been fun. It's been something new every year because no show's the same. It's literally the world debut of whatever show we do. So it's sitting down and looking at what the characters are, the props, how we're going to do it, what we need, and casting the show. And from there, just blocking it out.
Come on now. So how was the experience for you? Was it, I'm sure it was like challenging and all the things,
No, it is. It's great. It is challenging because I feel like when you're a grown up, obviously your brain's more developed. You understand the etiquette of what you need to do to get a show done. Kids are not like that.
They don't understand that.
Kids don't understand anything like that. And so you really have to break it down. And sometimes it's like, you guys need to be quiet. You guys need to stop talking. Have you guys listened to the song at home? You haven't listened? Okay, well, we have a few more rehearsals left. You have to listen to the music. So it's just a constant of you repeating yourself. And like, telling them that, that we want you to look good.
Right, yeah, it's for the best.
We are trying to provide all these things for you because we want you to have fun, but we also want you to look good.
Right.
So I think, it comes with its challenges, but the kids with, praise be to God, always pull it together. Like,
come on now.
Always. And the show is always phenomenal. I cry every time because it's beautiful and they're just great. Now, rehearsals are tough. I would say those are where I feel like I'm going to lose it. And you can't because they're kids, but...
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not even just kids. Like you said, like it's always... I feel like in any play, a lot of plays that I've been in, like there's always that moment like during tech week where you're like, yo, we open in a couple of days.
Right.
We're not we're not there yet. But there's something like magical in the air that happens in those like last 2 days.
Yes.
Where somehow it just comes
everybody
together.
just pulls it together. And that's always what happens. And I think I learned a lot from them during the process and a lot about myself and about patience. Patience is a virtue.
It is. It's a virtue.
But it is one of the highlights of the year for me.
Come on, I love it. Yeah. And that show that I came to is so beautiful. The kids did a great job. You did a great job. So super proud of you for that. And you're another person that, when I talk to you about like being behind the scenes and doing stuff, you're like, no, like I'm just an actor. I just want to, but you're doing your direct thing. Who knows? You might start... We might see a short film by Dionna Williams. Who knows?
I think I might leave that to you.
You're gonna be. You're just starring.
If you need any directing a little bit here and there, maybe I can step in.
You can dibble and dabble.
But it's good to know what you're good at.
Yeah. Exactly. You got to know your lane, know your path. As we wrap up here, you are an actress, a phenomenal actress. You're in ministry, doing things with arts camp and stuff like that. Everybody's got goals. Everybody's got marks that they want to hit in life. But for you, Dionna Williams, what does hitting your mark look like?
I think hitting my mark is just being a good storyteller. I think that's important, and it doesn't necessarily mean that like I want to have all the fame in the world and all the money. Like that's not the end goal. I think making people feel something, making their hearts stir, their minds think. I think that is the end goal for me, to put out truthful work and tell a good story. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. I had an actor teacher once that said, like, if you're doing a play, you're doing a show, a TV show, like if one person leaves, like feeling inspired, like feeling something, Like, you've done your job. You've done your job. I love that. Before we wrap, tell the people how they could connect with you and see what you have going on.
Oh, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at Dionna Williams. It's Dionna Williams.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's the main platform that I use. I'm on TikTok, but it's more so about the books that I read. And if you like romance books, if anybody likes romance books, you can find me at D's Reads on TikTok.
D's Reads. But you also, you have another page too where you be posting like your monologues and stuff. Come on now. Yeah. Don't play. I know my stuff. I do my homework.
It's just for fun.
Okay.
I think my name's Deanna Joy on there. So Deanna Joy, and I put out some cute monologues in the scenes if anybody wants to take a peek.
No, they definitely will. Well, thank you so much, Dionna, for being here and having this conversation with me. I'm super inspired by you, so I appreciate you. If you enjoyed this conversation with the superstar herself, be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel so you can see more content that we have and see more episodes that we have coming out. All right, see you next time.